In order. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which advances one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
time, I'll go ahead and read mine. We swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of District Clerk of the Watertown City School District of the City of Watertown to the best of my ability. Yes. We go and
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Superintendent of Schools, of the Watertown City School District of the City of Watertown to the best of my ability.
At this time, I would like to accept nominations for the president of the board.
Can I nominate?
Yes. Sure can.
I would like to nominate Jason.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second. Are there any other nominations? If not, nominations are closed and the vote will be taken. All those in favor of Jason Harrington for president?
Well, can I say a couple of things? So nominating Jason, is not just a simple nomination. I think that the Office of Presidency takes a lot of responsibility and leadership qualities. And the leadership qualities that I hold in high value are the ability to have emotional IQ, the ability to communicate, and the ability to be able to listen. And I think that Jason has executed all of those attributes in an excellent manner. He's been able to manage this group very effectively. I can honestly say that 2 years ago, I did not like him. And I made that very public. And I was not chocolate coating my emotions at the time. But since then, I have grown to really appreciate his leadership qualities. I've learned to appreciate the fact that he can change and see the bigger picture and be able to bring this board together, especially in times of confusion and maybe some discontent or some disagreement. And that's really what holds the group together, is having a person who has the ability to do that. So I didn't want to just softly nominate him. I wanted to make it public, the values that I hold high. And I am very, very grateful that we have such a strong leader. Don't cry. Oh, you're welcome.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Jason Harrington is elected president for the upcoming year.
Congratulations.
I'd like to now accept nominations for position of the vice president.
I have a nomination. I'd like to nominate Randy Richardson.
And is there a second?
Yes, Millie.
Are there any other nominations? Not, nominations are closed. No vote will be taken.
Can I say something? I'm not going to leave you out, Randy. I think the fact that myself and John have nominated Jason and Randy to continue in the leadership role really exemplifies and it illustrates what we feel as a board, as you two being leaders. One great thing that I think about you two continuing on in your positions is that we are providing a solid continuity of foundation for Dr. Schmeigel. He came to us a year ago and really undertook an incredible amount of obstacles and challenges, whether they were administrative or parents or students in the entire district. And the fact that we can keep the same leadership stable for our leader who has just completed a year is monumental in that way. So thank you for nominating Randy and letting us continue on a stable path.
All those in favor of Randy Richardson for vice president?
Bye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Randy Richardson, congratulations. Jason and Randy. Stand with your votes as well.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of President, Board of Education for the Watertown City School District of the City of Watertown to the best of my ability.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of office of the Vice President of the Board of Education for the Watertown City School District, City of Watertown, to the best of my ability.
That's the case.
Oh, she breaks. Get the
I would get the feeling that's gonna come up missing.
Okay. Michelle, do we have any agenda changes this evening?
I do have one agenda change, the in items for board action, the approval to dispose, recycle, or donate outdated and unused textbooks. I did add that, and I did provide the board members with an updated personnel report. Friday, there have been some changes.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone here tonight who's wishing to address the board on agenda-related public comments? No? Okay. Michelle, do we have any communications?
My only communications to the board is to point out that you have a conflict of interest statement in front of you for you to sign. This is something I give to you yearly, and if you could read through that, sign it, and return it to me this evening. I appreciate that.
Okay, perfect. Moving right into board and staff reports, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Michael Morgan tonight, giving us the athletic department update. Thanks for coming, Mike.
Thank you for having me. See if I can click and talk at the same time. So, try at least do that. So good afternoon, members of the Board of Education and District Administration. It is with great pride and enthusiasm that I stand before you today to present the state of athletics in the Watertown City School District. As the Director of Athletics, it is both an honor and a privilege to serve our community and to oversee the development of our student athletes. Thank you for the opportunity to give a public update in person. Here we go. So this past season has been one of remarkable achievements and significant growth for our athletic programs. Our 56 interscholastic teams have demonstrated excellence, not only in their performance on the field, but also in their sportsmanship and commitment to our core values. Our boys lacrosse team made it to the sectional finals, which is a testament to their hard work and dedication. This was also their first appearance in this game in school history. 6 of our teams won Frontier League championships, 3 of them going undefeated in the league: girls swimming, boys outdoor track, and boys tennis. Our indoor track team, which was brand new this year, won the Independent League Boys Championship. The Frontier League does not sponsor indoor track just yet. Our varsity teams won nearly 60% of their contests, and we sent 6 track athletes to their respective state championships. Beyond the wins and accolades, our student athletes have shown tremendous personal growth. They have learned the importance of teamwork, resilience, and leadership. Our coaching staff has played an integral role in this development, providing mentorship and fostering a positive, inclusive environment. The addition of the athletic trainer role was a phenomenal change. Losing her, not so much. I guess she wants to spend some more time with her husband. I don't know why, but she's put good systems in place, Dorothy Wheatley, and we have a well-stocked sports medicine room that would allow the next person to hit the ground running. These pieces have been a great glimpse into what it means to bleed purple. However, white and gold are also our colors, so it's time to bleed all 3. I feel I had a rough start. Every district operates differently, and I was diligent in finding out what I could, but my efforts didn't necessarily align with silent goals of parents or maybe even the district. So moving forward, I would like to work together to set measurable goals to focus on. One, bridging the gap between providing opportunities to all and nurturing the drive of our athletically focused student body, like more intramural opportunities. Making every student K-12 feel like future Cyclone athletes and develop pride and ownership over all the grounds and facilities in the district. Rebuilding real school spirit. I want our bleachers packed with purple, gold, and white with cheering, enthusiastic friends and family. And we look to create a schedule that encourages and supports attendance by our athletes to help promote this. Some recent results from a parent survey sent out indicated that they rarely see their child's teacher or building administrator at games or events. And this is crucial to let the student athlete know that they are valued and supported. Thank you. So system improvements within, this is from the 23-24 school year. Our athletic department is committed to continuous improvement and innovation to better serve our student athletes and community. This year, we added several key enhancements that will streamline our operations and enhance the overall experience. First, we implemented a new scheduling and facility request system, ML schedules, which will optimize game and practice schedules to minimize conflicts and maximize efficiency. Additionally, we adopted Gipper. Gipper is a platform for creating and sharing professional quality graphics and updates, ensuring our communication is both timely and engaging. If you follow the Watertown Athletics Facebook page, some of those pictures that were posted is made through Gipper. So that is an example of what the Gipper service and provider can do. We have also begun integrating final forms for managing athletic forms and compliance, which simplifies the paperwork process for both families and staff. We've incorporated Coach Evaluator, which is an online tool to be a repository of information and data for our coaches. We entered into a partnership with Under Armour, serviced locally by Victory Promotions, to increase our athletic branding, solidify who we are as Cyclones, and to upgrade our appearance athletically. We hope to expand this partnership district-wide through Spiritwear and school stores, which in turn benefits all of us and not just athletics. Furthermore, recognizing the growing interest and participation in indoor track and bowling, we are proud to introduce a dedicated interscholastic bowling program, providing students with yet another opportunity to compete and excel. These system improvements are a testament to our commitment to excellence, and we look forward to the positive impact they will have on our athletic programs. We are also in the process of editing, updating, and creating an athletic code of conduct with the goal to codify some of the rules and regulations we already have, with updating some of the language and application. And lastly, in the past few weeks, as mentioned before, a survey was sent to all spring student athletes 7-12, as well as parents, guardians, in order to continue to improve and provide the best experience we can for our students. Some professional updates from my end. This past year, I achieved my nationally accredited registered athletic administrator certification through the National Interscholastic Athletic Administration Association. I have completed 76 credits of NIAAA professional development courses and am hoping to take 24 more this summer. I'm due to receive my certified athletic administrator, which is the next step, in 2025. I'm 60% through my 4th master's degree program at Canisius University in physical education and athletics. I'm a member of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Safety Committees for Section 3 and have created relationships with many athletic administrators, both in the North Country and in the Utica and Syracuse areas. So that being said, let's look forward to 24-25. So we've set some ambitious goals to build upon, or at least start talking about in 24-25, to build upon the successes that we just shared and address areas for improvement. Our primary objectives are as follows. Our current facilities have served us well, but it's time for upgrades to ensure our athletes have the best possible environment to train and compete. I would like to explore opportunities for upgrading our fields and track, new field lighting, and improve our locker room facilities. I have begun the process of a United States Tennis Association grant for tennis court improvements. These enhancements will not only benefit our athletes, but will also serve as a source of pride for the entire Watertown community. Number 2 is promoting educational-based athletics. We believe that athletics play a crucial role in the educational experience. Our focus will be on integrating academic support with athletic participation, ensuring our student athletes excel both in the classroom and in their respective sports. We will introduce study hall sessions for teams, provide academic tutoring, and emphasize the importance of maintaining a strong GPA. I also intend to work with Mike Shanley, who is over there, surprise, and the AV Club to explore student production of game day graphics on our new video scoreboard, as well as having the students create those Gipper graphics and promos that I showed you earlier. You don't need to be in a uniform to be involved in educational-based athletics. Number 3 is fostering a positive culture. Building a culture of respect, integrity, and inclusivity is at the heart of our mission. We will continue to promote initiatives that celebrate diversity and encourage sportsmanship. Our goal is to create a supportive environment where every student feels valued and motivated to achieve their best. Number 4 is professional development for coaches. Our coaches are the backbone of our programs. Investing in their professional development is crucial for the continued success of our teams. We will provide opportunities for coaches to attend workshops, conferences, and certification programs to stay current with the latest coaching techniques and strategies. Currently, our football and basketball coaches have already been enrolled in professional organizations so they can begin to tap into those built-in networks of best practices. And number 5, honoring the history of Watertown athletics. We have a rich history of athletic excellence here at Watertown. And this year, I hope to plan to honor that legacy by beginning the discussions of the feasibility of a Hall of Fame to recognize past athletes, coaches, and contributors who have made significant impacts on our programs. We will also host events to celebrate our history and inspire future generations. I would also like to explore an increase in the number of employees who service the athletic department. We are the 13th largest school in Section 3 with 56 athletic teams, nearly 500 total athletes, the corresponding gear and equipment, as well as multiple facilities all around the city. We currently have 3 people, myself included, who handle all of this. Some other schools have TAs or teachers on special assignment placed in the office to assist with scheduling paperwork or equipment. Currently, it is overwhelming to say the least, and we end up being reactive more than proactive. That being said, the state of Watertown High School athletics is strong and the future is bright. We are committed to providing our student athletes with the best possible opportunities to grow, learn, and succeed. With the support of the Board of Education, our dedicated coaching staff, and the entire Watertown community, I'm confident that we will achieve our goals and continue to build a legacy of excellence. So I'm going to tie the next 5 slides to the strategic plan that exists within the district and how athletics can apply to the strategic plan. So increasing the graduation rate. Academic support programs, we're going to integrate mandatory study halls and tutoring sessions for student athletes, ensuring they keep up with their academic responsibilities, and maintain strict academic eligibility requirements for participation in sports, motivating students to stay focused on their studies. Our athletic council that met to go over some of the stuff in regards to our new code of conduct has talked about how important it is that athletics is a privilege, it's not a right, and student comes first. Number 2, increasing meaningful student engagement. Diverse athletic offerings provide a wide range of sports to appeal to different interests and skill levels, ensuring more students find a sport they enjoy and want to participate in. Pursuing interest levels in girls flag football, as well as the feasibility of a unified sports program. And we have begun preliminary discussions with the Cornell Cooperative Group regarding starting an esports program here at Watertown. Leadership opportunities. Encourage student athletes to take on leadership roles within their teams, fostering a sense of responsibility and belonging. I'm looking to create a captain's council for 24-25 to provide an outlet for student athletes to share their positives and negatives. And community service projects. A lot of our teams currently do community service projects, but I want to continue to push and involve teams in community service projects, teaching them the value of giving back and enhancing their connection to the community. Improving student attendance. Use athletic events to create a vibrant school culture that students want to be a part of, encouraging them to attend school regularly to stay involved. And early intervention. Monitor attendance patterns of student athletes and intervene early if issues arise, offering support to help them stay on track. Enhancing behavioral supports. Character education. Incorporate character education into the athletic programs, emphasizing values like respect, integrity, and teamwork. I'm looking to implement Dr. Joe Hodl's character development program, which is designed for grades 9 to 12. Students will have daily lessons and readings sent to their email, and coaches can incorporate that content and lesson plans into their practices and team building. Positive reinforcement. Use positive reinforcement to acknowledge and reward good behavior, both on and off the field. And conflict resolution training. Provide training for coaches and student athletes on conflict resolution and effective communication skills. And lastly, enhancing infrastructure. Investing in upgrading athletic facilities, which will not only improve the experience for athletes, but also to attract more students to participate in sports. And technology integration. Incorporate modern technology into training and facilities management to enhance the overall efficiency and effectiveness of the athletic programs. Encouraging coaches to utilize huddle and film study more, while incorporating huddle streaming and scouting into sports such as swimming and diving, tennis, softball, and baseball. And by aligning high school athletics with these strategic priority areas, we can create a more integrated and supportive environment that fosters academic success, personal growth, and community engagement. And just some thank yous. Lastly, I want to publicly acknowledge and thank the people who are part of my team. And unfortunately, this list is not all inclusive, but we'll thank these people. You guys, the board and the district office, thank you. Del Nichols, Dorothy Wheatley, they're just the tip of the iceberg. Joanne Nevin is literally my right-hand person since day one. I wouldn't be able to do any of this without her. So Joanne, thank you. And thank you for being here tonight. And Brian, thank you for being here as well. Dave Taylor and his team at Watertown High School have been incredibly helpful. Brian Arias and his team at Buildings and Grounds, Tracy Slate, Maria Denner, when things need to get ordered or processed. The many others, like I said, I'm sure I'm forgetting Mike Shanley, Leslie on behalf of the Watertown High School administration. And they're all important to our success and operations. When I moved to Watertown 2 years ago, I envisioned moving to a smaller city with a slower pace. And while that may be true to a point, I was met with big local names and a lot of history. It took me some time to see the full court, but now I know the players. And I'm eager to work more closely with our coaches and other members who bring an expansive wealth of local knowledge, because this is the roster I've always dreamed of. Thank you for your continued support and dedication to our athletic programs. Together, we can make the upcoming school year the best one yet for Watertown athletics. Thank you very much.
Before we let Mike off the podium, anybody have any questions for him?
I do.
Sure.
You know,
Go ahead.
ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that very comprehensive presentation. There's a lot on there that I didn't know about, not that I should, because I don't really have kids that are playing in sports now, but that is a very comprehensive and elaborate presentation as to everything that you've accomplished and at least have vision. I really appreciate that you lined your goals with our strategic plan. One of the things that Dr. Schmiegel and our board needs to focus on, in most organizations, they develop a strategic plan and then they never look at it. And I think as we move forward with everything that's presented here we always come back to that. So I think that's quite impressive that you were able to effectively do that. So I'm happy to see you do that. I do have 2 questions for you, and they're not easy. So my first, and I'm just gonna say one and then you, and both of them, and then you can answer them. I would like to know, and I know you're new, you stepped into an albatross, there was a lot of confusion, there was a lot of things that you needed to learn how to navigate through. But my first question would be, can you tell me what you feel was your biggest challenge this year? And follow up by telling me what you feel is your biggest accomplishment as the AD of this district.
I'll do the second one first.
Okay.
The biggest accomplishment, I think, is kind of some change in some of our systems. With the scheduling aspect, for example, with the ML schedules use, so Joanne and I are in charge of the scheduling of all facilities within the district and the usage of that both internally and externally. Each building did something different. These building secretaries would have a calendar in front of them, a paper calendar. They would write down the events, and those paper calendars didn't necessarily talk to each other because it was up to the buildings to spread the message, et cetera. And it got overwhelming because, as you know, our district is used a lot. Our buildings, our fields, our facilities, and not just from athletics, from a lot of other entities. And by putting in ML schedules or pushing for the idea of ML schedules, it allowed to have an integrated technology system where all those things talk to each other. The same thing with final forms. We were registering student athletes on paper. We were the largest district, not just largest, so one of the only districts that still did paper registration. And I think at times Joanne and everyone else would like to go back to paper because technology fails us sometimes. But it's been a growth process with that as well for both our families, our student athletes, as well as the people, the nurses and such who use final forms. I do think it's a better system for that. And just so some of those system changes, I think are good to try to help push forward and make things a little bit easier for everybody involved. Biggest challenge within like the role or personally, like how, like just in general?
Yeah, just in general, like, what do you feel this year has been the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome in order to achieve your pride
Sure.
of putting in these schedules
Yeah.
and the system changes?
I think the biggest challenge was the gravity of the position. Athletic director has been a job that I got into education to ultimately be an athletic director. And here we are. And I worked with athletic directors in the past. I've coached, I've seen the system. So I thought I had a good understanding of what was needed to succeed. And it was a lot. It was a lot. And that the time management piece, the organizational piece, staying on top of all of the entities. And again, with just, me and Joanne, two people running a large chunk of an important department of this district. And I think that's the big key in order to do a lot of this stuff. Trying to find the support to be able to think big picture and think long-term without worrying about, is that bus, the bus got there at 7:20 instead of 7:10 and people are nervous, or, the rain has canceled a slew of events. Running through that type of stuff, it makes it hard to be able to focus on the big picture. But being here for a year and trying to figure out those systems and we're working together on things like that and integrating some of the stuff we've talked about. The hope is that year two would have a better understanding and aspect of trying to focus more on big picture. And those other things we can kind of work out through because we learned them as we went through them the first time. So that was what I would say would be the biggest challenge so far.
I think that's a very genuine response. Well, good.
Do we have any hard data on the graduation rate in reflection of student athletes? Are our student athletes, do we have a high number of student athletes that aren't meeting the graduation requirements?
Are not meeting?
Yes.
No, I don't have the exact number. I have it in the office. I can get that for you and share that with you. But a large majority of our student athletes are graduating, which could be a testament to their their abilities, but also athletics. Studies show that athletics put people on the right path. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I can get you that number for sure.
Great. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Our new assistant coordinator of data accountability and assessment, I were just talking before the board meeting tonight, like even the survey that we sent out this year, it was the first survey that we sent out. But now we're like, we want to look at the subgroup data to really define this. We realized that some of the questions that we're not getting to that point, that subgroup data piece. And then some of the questions need to be worded differently so that we actually get the answer and kids interpret questions correctly. So we've got some work to do. We're glad that it's out there. We've got some more refining to do with that.
Mike, I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm glad you brought up the size of our athletic department versus other schools. Interesting point that I think we should definitely look into.
Yes.
And secondly, I know we're approving coaches later tonight. And one piece to that, I don't know exactly how relevant it is, but I think it's worth looking at. I'm not going to hold you to a number, but what percentage of our PE teachers are coaches?
A large number. It's definitely over. I'm going to guess, and again, I can get you the exact number, but I'm going to guess it's probably about 60-65%.
Okay, actually larger than I thought.
Yeah, and we also had, it depends on how you want to count. We have one PE teacher that coaches 3 sports and 2 sports. So if you count them 3 times or once, that might affect the numbers. But we do actually have a large number of our PE teachers, and actually a large number of our coaches are district employees as well, which is a huge thing in order to be able to check on kids and stuff like that. But our PE teachers are very active in the athletic program.
Excellent.
Mike, thanks for coming in. I always appreciate hearing from you. Glad to hear the Hall of Fame's moving forward. We've been talking about that for a while. Great way to build pride in our district and our alums. Glad to see that happen. As it relates to the strategic plan, I'm curious. Now, obviously, the turf's going to make a big difference. But if you look forward, and as we as a district and the board look forward to capital improvements, post turf, how would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate our athletic facilities?
Be honest.
4, 3.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
3.5. My biggest thing is I would love to see the track fixed in no particular order. I think there's 4 major projects that can change the scope of everything. Our tennis courts being redone or resurfaced, new lights at the football field, a new track, and bringing our softball and baseball teams back here. However that looks, doesn't necessarily need to be turf. However that looks, I would love to have those teams back on campus and have all of our teams outside of like golf and the ones that literally can't be here, as many of our teams as possible be on campus. It's one of those things like Watertown, was, when that field was first put in, the gold standard of Frontier League and North Country schools. And unfortunately, we've been passed, by smaller schools. And I think just those, and obviously there's need elsewhere, but those four things I think would really make a world of difference and an appearance. And they're also used, we talk about the facility usage, the tennis courts are used year round. By the city, by the YMCA. Brian's there 2 months a year, but the community uses it as well. And I think it's just as much an investment in them as it is for Brian and his student athletes.
I suspected you had a running list in your head. And
I've been thinking for a while.
I appreciate
When I met with the building commission people or the buildings and whatever that survey was, it was an interesting conversation and I felt bad. I'd asked the coaches for their input on stuff, and the coaches have been asked that question many times over the years. Stuff doesn't happen. So I'm hoping that I can help be, part of that conversation to improve all the way around.
I appreciate your honesty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you,
for
everybody.
coming
Thank you,
in.
Mike.
Thank you. Okay. Up next, we have a strategic plan update.
This is going to be a team effort, so Tina's going to get us uploaded here. So we had the opportunity to meet with the strategic plan focus committee. So if you look at the last page of our strategic plan, you see the list of names of people that serve on the focused committee. And so we had the opportunity to meet and look at our action steps. So if you recall, when we first put the strategic plan together and kind of tying into what Millie was saying earlier, is that we didn't want a plan that was for 5 years and it sat on a shelf collecting dust. We wanted it to come to life. And so we promised the community when we presented to the board and to our community, the strategic plan, that we would be meeting annually in June to look at our action steps and to identify new ones to take us a step further this upcoming year. So we're going to scroll up to the top, and those are the only revisions in the plan as the goals stay the same. Prior to the focus committee meeting, and I'll go over that in just a second here, we had the opportunity to meet as an executive leadership team and to try to create some ideas. So when we worked with the focus committee, we had at least some starting points. And it was amazing. In most of these areas, the focus committee for the strategic plan pushed our thought process and pushed us even further than what we were thinking we could do. So if you scroll up just slightly, fostering collaboration through advisory. We're going to continue with the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. We had an agreed upon belief with the teacher advisory and the student advisory that we have some collaborative meetings to talk about improving student attendance and ways in which we can engage students more in classrooms. And then if you scroll down to the teacher one, there was a suggestion in here kind of in the middle bullet to change the teacher advisory to staff. The committee, the focus committee, is critically important that as we improve our district, that we seek the input and counsel from all stakeholder groups within our organization. And so what was formerly known as in the 23-24 school year as the teacher advisory will be the staff advisory, and we'll be soliciting input from each building to make sure that we have buildings and departments represented during those. Our teacher group also pushed the idea of having collaborative conversations with our students. There were some different ideas there. You also see that last bullet. Oftentimes ideas, we start discussing things and we get excited and then the time kind of flies by. We promise an hour and 2 hours later, we're still engaged in conversation, which is great. But one of the suggestions was to create a Google Doc so that we can kind of create like a chat thread, so that students or staff, as they leave those meetings, if things come on their mind, it's not something that they have to harbor. They can put it on the list and we can refer back to it. It also will help us guide our councils when we're meeting and maybe there's a list of agenda items and a particular staff member at the building feels like that's something that they could contribute well to, or an agenda item that they're not necessarily interested or engaged with, that they could excuse themselves from that particular meeting. So we're looking forward to continuing these committees, but also taking them to the next level. Enhancing the scheduling committee. This year, there was the high school and middle school scheduling committee that was shared with Lynn's report out. Establishing the dates ahead of time so that we have those and we can coordinate those around the analyzing data and making recommendations for the upcoming school year, making sure that it's tied into our budget process. This was huge, and this was actually the students' idea, soliciting student input. That was one of the things our student advisory kids said this year. They said, we really want Mrs. Gaffney to present to us what those plans are for the schedule so that we can provide some input. So we would like them to be a part of the decision-making process when we look at classes moving forward. Improving the graduation rate. We want to do a root cause analysis, initiating a root cause analysis of a specific focus group. This year's focus group was our students with an IEP, one of our subgroups that were struggling to meet the graduation requirements. This year, under Matt Burdick's direction, he would like to kind of expand that to other subgroups. And so we would like to look at our graduation rate of African-American males and to see what strategies we can use there to increase the graduation rate for that subgroup. Enhancing student onboarding. This was something that was created in the secondary schools this year. Matt would like to expand this to the elementary schools as well. And we also used the panorama screener this year. With any of the surveys that we're giving to students or to teachers or our community, I really want 2 data sets. This past year, it was our first year bringing these surveys out. There was a lot of surveys in a very short period of time, and it was at the end of the year. We really want to look at surveys differently. We want to collect survey data in the fall, and then we want to look at it again in the spring so we can compare and contrast and truly identify our strengths and weaknesses, and then communicate that respectfully. The next thing was enhancing our graduation coach. So we hired Vicki Kolb, as you know. The board approved that at a prior meeting, so we're excited about that. I was able to pull on or lean on one of my former graduation coaches that I hired years ago that was just phenomenal as a graduation coach. I asked her to please mentor our new graduation coach. She has agreed to do that. Vicki and her had their first meeting on Monday of this week. It was absolutely phenomenal. They sent us the agenda afterwards. There was no one else that I could picture that could lead her into this position and be as successful as she's going to be than somebody who actually lived through this journey themselves. And they've also served as assistant principal and director of curriculum. So there's a variety of background that will help Vicki in that role. They're going to meet monthly. She's opened herself up to allow weekly phone calls if Vicki needs. The idea right now is to really set some opening goals that can really lean to help us so that we see the impact this year. Evaluating progress and outcomes that will happen at their monthly meetings, and that information will be shared with the building principal, Leslie Atkinson. The next one, we have not filled this position yet. We do have several internal candidates that applied for the credit recovery teacher. We're going to continue with this one with the understanding that someone will be hired to begin this position at the beginning of the year. And this is also something that I really wanted a mentor to be assigned to this teacher. It's not just a study hall. These kids are at risk of not graduating. So it was critically important that we assign a mentor to this individual that really understands the importance of their new role and why the board and our community voted yes on our budget to support this position. So that person will also be provided that mentoring and guidance as well. Keep in mind that when we added that position, I did say when you look at the data, we do have, we will need more than one credit recovery teacher, but we're going to start with one and then see where that goes from there. With these kids, we really need to make sure that we're focusing on that credit recovery piece, but it's extremely important that we don't lose sight of the credit accrual also, because our goal is to try to get them to graduate with their cohort. This one right here, enhancing instructional support services in core subjects, reviewing and enhancing instructional support services in ELA, math, science, and social studies, developing the MTSS program in each building led by the assistant coordinator of data accountability and assessment, who's here tonight. Thank you for joining us. Implementing class-wide interventions for K-8 math. This was something that Lynn has been doing a lot of work in this area, and she apologizes for not being here tonight for this board meeting. Implementing evidence-based interventions for K-8 in reading. We have some models across the district with how reading interventions are taking place. We want to make sure that, as Mike was saying to the athletic department, we want to make sure that there are systems in place for what's working. We want to carry them forward in other areas. The early warning systems, this is something that we have but don't often use. And so we want to conduct ongoing professional development so that teachers and administrators know how to use the early warning system. I listed this as ongoing because it's something that we offered last year, but it's something that needs to be continuously brought to the forefront. As a former high school principal, I lived on the early warning systems report, and that is, you get a lot of data from that, and there's kids that you can catch prior to that endpoint. We're looking at progress reports. Prior to that progress reports coming out, what are we doing to work with kids and parents to let them know that their child's off track for graduation? If we have a progress report, which is in our school tool system, waiting until a report card grade goes out and a kid already lost that half a credit at semester end, it's too late. And so we want to intervene early, and that's the purpose of these early warning systems. It ties in the grades, the academics, and it ties in the behavior so that we get a true picture of all of our kids and where they're at. I think I'm good there. Enhancing the graduation exit survey. So I kind of spoke about this briefly when Mike was giving his presentation. We are extremely pleased of our Portrait of a Graduate Committee who came up with our senior exit survey. Amy is working as her first day was a couple days ago. She is currently analyzing that. We're going to try to disaggregate it as much as possible. We've got some room for improvement, but we have some data pieces that we can definitely use from that survey. And we've got some things that we can feedback that we can provide to the Portrait of a Graduate Committee to really enhance that survey even more. And then just as a reflection from our GD presentation at the last board meeting, really making sure that we're reaching out to our seniors that maybe did not graduate and ask them to also complete the survey so we can get some input from those stakeholders as well. Increasing student engagement. This was one of the things that our teacher advisory, now staff advisory and student advisory said that they would like to discuss as a topic in their meetings in this upcoming school year. The one thing that we administered this year is our student engagement survey. That was something, as I mentioned, with our other surveys was administered in the spring. Our goal this year is to administer that in the fall and the spring so we can look at that data and see our students improving that level of engagement. This feedback is critically important for Lynn as she's developing professional development opportunities for our instructional staff to make sure that she has that data. Enhancing student engagement by building. We have a lot of things that are happening that are amazing in classrooms, so making sure that we're sharing those positives around the district. Analyzing and utilizing the findings that 72.6% of our students report enjoying coming to school. Even when we looked at our senior exit survey, that data was pretty high. And we want to make sure that we continue growing that area. Evaluating strategies to improve the satisfaction rate of teacher assistants when students are needing assistance, looking at what we can do to take that to the next level. Rethinking the survey implementation dates. We said that earlier with the fall and the spring implementation. And then collaborating the data with staff. Oftentimes our students and teachers, they give input and then we hardly share the data back. So when we look at our opening day with faculty in an abbreviated format, sharing that data, drawing people's attention to it and having the data accessible for them to click on. So we're still analyzing that data. Responding to student feedback, advocating for more hands-on activities. Our kids are saying they want more hands-on lessons. Increasing the importance of hands-ons and group activity projects. Those are incorporated in the Cyclone 6 that Lynn's putting out for professional development. Investigating and identifying appropriate and effective context for hands-on when it's appropriate and when are times that it maybe is not. This again is another Lynn section, enhancing data-driven instruction and curriculum guidance. Utilizing the data. One of the things that Lynn and I noticed when we first got here was that oftentimes decisions were made on a single data point. And we know that with students and with learning, that students do well on some things and not others. And we want to look at multiple data points when we're determining student placement in classes. So that's that first bullet, providing training and cognos for all teachers regarding the state assessments in order to allow them to use that data. That was one of the reasons why we advocated for the additional coordinator position for data and accountability, is that we have data, but we need to start using it to drive instruction more regularly. Implement progress monitoring, reading and math instruction. That's a focus for this upcoming year. Enhancing professional development and instructional practices. I kind of mentioned this earlier. So it's taking all of those best practices and tying that into professional development. The science of reading. You'll hear Lynn reference that when she's talking, also known as the science of learning, to make sure that it goes across the core content areas. We're looking forward this summer. We have a breakthrough coach professional development that's going to be given to all administrators in the district, including their secretaries. This is really going to help maximize, you know, as our leaders in the buildings and departments, they are the instructional leaders in their spaces. And we want to make sure that they have the tools that they need so that they can focus on student learning. Ensuring ongoing training and support from the Reading League. They've been a phenomenal help this year. We're going to continue with their support and their commitment. Ensuring ongoing training from Dr. Zach Burchell. That was an amazing professional development. It was amazing to go to the high school and see the math teachers engaged with the science of learning for math. So we're going to continue that. Provide continued training and support from the assistant superintendent for instruction and science and learning. With the Cyclone 6, we asked Lisa Blink to make us something cute and catchy so that we can make sure that's up. And when teachers are planning and doing their lesson plannings, that they have that as a reminder to make sure that we're incorporating the Cyclone 6 framework and facilitating attendance of new teachers in the effective teaching course of BOCES. And that is something that we're continuing to work on. Enhancing data-driven instructional coaching. This is really looking at our coaching model and making sure that we're really perfecting this. The whole coaching model moving into this upcoming school year looks a lot different. We're going to be looking at data to determine what teachers should receive support with their input and try to encourage that buy-in piece at the coaching level. And that's a little bit different than opposed to somebody saying, oh, can I have that person in my room this week or today to help with the lesson? It's going to be more targeted and it's going to be based on data. We're going to continue those partnerships with Dr. Zach Rochelle, Dr. Jean Turbinetti, recruiting and hiring instructional coaches for North and Riley. That was something that we put out there at the budgeting process to make sure that every building felt like they had that, the instructional support there. And rolling out the new instructional plan, which is that continuous monitoring and adjustment. And looking at, you know, we often tell our teachers, make sure you differentiate your instruction to meet the needs of the diverse learners in your kids. And too often our professional development is a one size fits all. So we're recognizing that we need to meet our teachers where they are. We have teachers that are phenomenal that don't need a professional development, that could use something else to enhance their practice or keep them interested and engaged in teaching and learning rather than sit through something that they already have mastered. So we've got some work to do there. Gathering data on the impact of instructional coaching on teaching practices. That's something we're changing that model this year. We're going to collect that data and see how that revision to the practice influences student performance. Evaluating the effectiveness of the instructional coaches based on established criteria and feedback. Soliciting feedback from the teachers that are receiving coaching and making sure that they're getting that level of support. This is staff development, communicating the district's instructional coaching plan. This is really making sure that the staff are aware of what the plan is with the district, implementing the new instructional coaching plan with ongoing monitor and adjustments as needed. We do not believe, we've talked about this, Lynn and I and Tina and Sally, we don't believe in continuing the level of support if it's not meeting the needs. Like we have to at some point stop and reflect, and if changes are needed, we're going to make those changes, and we're not going to go all school year with something that's not effective. Provide monitoring and mentoring for second year teachers. This was critically important to me. You know, oftentimes we give teachers that first year mentoring, administrators that first year mentoring. It meets the letter of the law, but some people need that second year to really hone in on their practice and to make them feel confident. When you look at a teacher turnover rate, most teachers leave the profession within 1 to 3 years. And so we can provide teachers more mentoring within that first 3 years so that they feel confident and competent. You know, our teachers, it's that advocacy piece. Teachers go into the profession to make a difference in the lives of their kids. And when they feel like they're not making that difference, they leave. And so we want to make sure that they have that level of support. Student attendance. I'm going to ask Tina to share the wealth on this one?
Sure. So one of the big things that we know that the best place for a student to be is in the classroom with teachers and socializing with friends and classmates. So one of the things we looked at was enhancing the district-wide attendance initiatives. Lynn has done a fantastic job of coordinating a district-wide attendance committee. We're also going to consider this year the addition of a parent and a student representative as well. We've had parent and student representation on various committees, and we felt it was very prudent to do it for this one. Continue creating and disseminating public service announcements, promoting the importance of attendance. We also would like to expand our student attendance support teams in each building as a sub-team of MTSS. So we'd like to identify root causes for absences. This is building at the building level. Develop personalized interventions. We know that student engagement, that one-on-one contact is very important. And then implementing class and school-wide incentives to promote regular attendance. We also would like to discuss working with school-based attendance nights. And one of the things we talked about here was we have athletic events, we have concerts, we have fine arts, plays. We'd like to actually integrate some kind of education for parents and community members onto the importance of student attendance. We have that captive audience here already. So to spread that news far and wide it's a good venue to do it. So we'd like to empower those families to actively contribute to student attendance by organizing attendance nights at all schools. We'd like to do professional development for parents and guardians on attendance trends, like I said, and information regarding the importance of attendance at school. We also have a very, very solid and strong team of homeschool coordinators. We'd like to coordinate with them and the student attendance support teams to integrate attendance nights. So their help is greatly appreciated. They're working on a project for the fall. Welcome back right now, our homeschool coordinator. Stay tuned for that news. And then we'd like to implement daily personalized outreach for students with low attendance. In the plan for this upcoming school year, we'd like to have the student attendance support teams again, and teachers will conduct daily outreach to engage families and students with low attendance. An engagement piece with families is very important. And then the attendance initiative piece, we'd like to reward students for attendance, implement class and school-wide incentives for promoting regular attendance, solicit parent interest for membership on the attendance committee, of course, establishing parent focus groups, and investigating the feasibility of implementing a tardy bus. This is something very exciting that the district used to have. But if a student misses the bus or, is late for school, to have a bus available to pick up those students, to bring them in so that they're in that classroom with their teachers.
So we're going to be going out for an RFP this year for transportation for the upcoming school year. So we want to start getting a list of ideas and things that we want to ask for in transportation. The electrification of buses, with the law that may be passed regarding temperature controlled spaces, AC on buses and so forth. So there's a list of things that we're starting to garner now for those meetings and the RFP process. The one thing that
So priority number 4 is enhancing behavioral supports for students. Matt and his team especially have done a great deal of work this year on that, and we're looking forward to the upcoming school year. The expansion and enhancement of our PBI's programming is certainly important. We'd like to do that by increasing the number of committee members in each building and establishing a district level implementation team to meet monthly and ensure consistent PBIS implementation across our 8 buildings. We'd like to conduct a PBIS audit in each building.
So that district-wide committee is going to be charged with going to the buildings and asking questions when you're looking at whether or not something's systems or not. We're going to be going around and asking teachers, administrators, students, what are the PBIS expectations in the building? Can you share one? We're going to be asking those, so the committee is going to be charged with going and collecting that data. And it's not going to be an I got you. It's going to be information that we can use to actually improve PBIS and make sure that it's systems-wide.
So integrating PBIS with GLOW goals, leadership opportunities, and wrap up process to align behavioral expectations. And then implement the monthly sharing of PBIS data with teachers in each building. That's going to be key.
I just want to go back to that town hall one, because that one is the one I thought we missed in the last one. This, Case Middle School, they have their town hall meetings. What we would like for them to be is the pilot and the model for this. We would like the data shared with the students. We would like the attendance rate shared with the students, the referral data shared with students, so that if disruptive behaviors or defiance is the #1 behavioral for the month, when they have those town halls to talk about what does it mean to be defined? What are some of those behaviors? And what are the PBIS reteaching pieces that can be tied in to allowing those town halls at Case to kind of be a model for other buildings so that we're communicating the data with our kids who are ultimately responsible for helping us improve them.
Okay, the next up is the implementation of minor and major referral systems. We'd like to implement the distinction between minor and major referrals in school tool, ensuring consistent identification.
But right now, they're on paper, the minor referrals are on paper. Some people write major referrals, some people write minor. We have no way of collecting the data and disaggregating it if we're doing everything on paper. We talked as a committee about should we just allow people to fill out the paper that they're comfortable with and scanning it? You can't disaggregate it once it's a PDF. And so we really want it in there. So that's going to be a big lift for our schools this year to move from the paper pencil to actually uploading those into the computer system. And then we can start targeting and looking at what behaviors at the minor level are leading to those major infractions. And is there any possible way for us to intervene early before they're getting that classroom removal, suspension, et cetera?
Maybe we'll have much more data to work with too with this, which would be great because we'll be able to track those minor and majors as well, and develop interventions. Expansion of PBIS initiatives for 24-25. Allocate funding. So thank you to the board allocating $2.50 for each student in the district. Develop a PBIS expenditure and action plan for the same period. Administer a student input survey to gather feedback on desired rewards. And develop a Google Doc outlining best practices for allocating the funds towards rewards and supplies. It's a very thoughtful process on that $2.50 per student. Enhance identification and documentation of minor and major referrals in school tool, like we said, and ensure that staff upload those minor behavior referrals to school tool on. So we shared with our administrative cabinet this year, timely processing and documentation of disciplinary referrals. A major portion of this is when a student, earns a referral per se, that parents are notified within 2 days of the infraction and promptly notify all parents and guardians by phone of such referrals. That school to home relationship is truly important. Collaborate with the RIC on developing a report to track disciplinary outcomes and also document disciplinary actions in the student success specialist and team records as well. This is a program, the PACS program. This has been implemented in 2 of our elementary buildings this year, Ohio and at Knickerbocker. We're going to begin to implement that PACS good behavior game in additional K-4 classrooms across the district. We're going to expand training for teachers to increase the implementation. We're going to establish a PACS partner within our district through collaboration with Pivot to provide ongoing support to classroom teachers in implementing the PACS good behavior game. And this is a set of, everything from vocabulary, it's embedded right into the culture of the classroom. And it's designed to increase not only student behaviors in terms of making those positive, but also engagement as well. We want to ensure the fidelity. Any new program that's implemented, we want to make sure we keep our finger on it and that it, and monitor it and make adjustments as necessary. So conduct our PPS teams. I lead those teams and they do some phenomenal work. I'm going to skip down to the next one here in front of you. You have something called the Watertown City School District Student Support Quick Reference. This took hours of work and our team really did a fantastic job. I told the story a lot. Dr. Schmiegel has heard it many times, but Dr. Schmiegel and I were in the auditorium after professional development last October. We had 2 separate staff members come to us and say, what does a social worker do versus a school psychologist versus a counselor? So our teams developed this quick reference sheet. School counselor, what does the school counselor do versus a psychologist, homeschool coordinator, social worker, and then our Pivot agency as well. This is something that's geared towards our staff. Next year, what we'd like to do is make a play card for our community with language that they can understand and find useful, because we have so many great resources at Watertown here. We want to make sure those are maximized for student success.
I think the other thing with this, the one pager, if I go back to that
Yes.
experience in the auditorium, was the idea that our kids have relationships with different people in the building. It may not be their homeroom teacher, it may not be their coach, it may be somebody else I had kids that their person was the groundskeeper, and that was their person. So we really wanted to make sure that this one pager, when a student goes to their trusted individual within the school district, that individual, regardless of their position in our district, that they felt like they had a resource to use to be able to guide students in the right direction when they need support.
Are all these positions filled right now?
We have a school counselor opening. We have hopefully only one, yes, we have a retirement there. We have a psychologist opening. We had an interview today actually for that. Homeschool coordinators are filled, social workers are filled, and I haven't heard anything from Mr. Bowman lately, so thinking our pivot spots are filled as well.
Should we go on that last comment you made? Do we include bus drivers?
We actually, we're going to be providing PD for bus drivers this year, and that is in the plan. Yeah, because oftentimes you get a lot of disciplinary referrals from bus drivers, and or in a positive, it could be the person that they have that relationship with.
So going back to the previous action step here, we'd like to use this to do some professional development with principals and find out, personnel inventory wise across all buildings. Principals will utilize this document as a foundational tool to complete an inventory. We want them to provide insights into how PPS staff are currently assigned and utilized within each building, allowing for strategic adjustments and optimizations for better support. So we'd like to really take a close look at that, and this document is the first step to doing this, so we know roles and responsibilities there. So enhancement of the PPS personnel communication, again, communicating our PPS play card, outlining the roles and responsibilities, and we'd like to create a comprehensive reference document similar to this document, like I said a little bit earlier, for the community. And we'd like to create a specific directory of PPS personnel names and contact information in the district. And we'd like to do all of this by October 1st. So PD on behavior referrals. This is where we talk about transportation a little bit, but we'd like to conduct professional development sessions for all staff, including for student drivers and aides, to educate them on the scope, substance, and purpose of behavior referrals. So Dr. Spiegel and I went to First Student last September, and we spoke to all the drivers. The bay was filled over at First Student. So we'd like to, we have a contact going to bring in to do some professional development with First Student drivers. So in some of our buildings, the majority of referrals are seen on the bus. So to educate drivers is certainly important. So we have an expert coming in to do that. I've talked to Charmaine over at First Student about that. That's in the works. And we'd like to develop training materials that outline the criteria for behavior referrals, their importance and process. And we want to make sure that all of our staff, including the drivers and aides, actively participate in the professional development sessions.
And this something that I forgot until we just read this out loud is we actually invited our bus drivers and anyone who worked for First Students and our staff who are not typically invited to the opening day. Contractually, they're not working yet. We invited all bargaining units and First Student to attend. And the board last year approved payment of those individuals to come in the day early. And we are going to plan on continuing that into this upcoming year. It's important that all of our staff feel like they're a part of that opening launch. And then the next is Sally Switzer, who for everyone, this is her last official board meeting for this trip with the Watertown City School District.
I'll be around three. Well, this has been a nice term here. So we have a number of capital outlay projects, which are annual $100,000 small projects. We haven't closed out the paperwork. So this is for this coming year. We need to file the paperwork for the one that's just closed out last week. As well as start with the 24-25 capital outlay project. And so obviously we are doing it this summer, so it'll be done probably by September, so the paperwork will be filed for there. And the idea is that once you file the paperwork, you get the building aid the following year, so you don't get it paid out over the typical 15 years. So it's a good way to get some small projects done annually, and it's budgeted. So obviously next spring, the business official will make sure that it's continued to be budgeted, but also that we would need to next spring make sure we do the secret paperwork, so we'll be ready to start with the July 1, 2025. So these are the things that we need to get done for the current year that we're in, July 1, for the capital outlay projects. The building condition survey, which Mike spoke to a little bit earlier, we are getting that list from the architects, King and King. And next Monday, we'll be meeting with them to, go over the first draft of the and to prioritize all of the things that the stakeholders, the building principals, the staff, the administrators, the board members all met with them. And they have this huge list. Can't have it all, but we need to be able to prioritize all of the issues. And we're going to identify whether, they're for infrastructure, for their safety, ADA compliance, instructional, because the principals would have provided things that may not be structurally in need, but do you want to take a wall down for have a larger group, things like that. So we're going to be able to prioritize that list. And then with working with our fiscal advisors, they'll be able to come up with a plan for a long-term capital projects, whether it would be one big project that we would want to provide for the public to vote on, and whether it would be one big project or be able to break it out over a series of phases. So those are the things that fiscal advisors would also help us with, because we don't want to make sure that we have level building aid and level debt year to year, so our budget doesn't fluctuate. So they'll help us with that. And the architects would, obviously, if we don't do it all in like, say, this next coming vote, you have to anticipate what maybe a 3-year away project would be, so you have to have some inflationary factors. So fiscal advisors would help us with that. We do have a capital reserve that will help us be able to leverage our $10 million reserve to be upwards of $100 million total in capital construction projects. So that's a good thing. But we would also need to, like, some of the things that the athletics would need, would be in exterior field work. Those are not aidable. So we would also have to figure out how we would infrastructure for non-aidable things as well. And that's where, again, fiscal advisors helps us with. So all of these things need to be decided probably early fall, because in order to keep on the timeline of, having not only meeting the SCD paperwork to have ground broke and have that level of building aid, we would probably have to have a late fall, early winter vote to get that process started, because, as that drops off, you don't want to have a void in a year, and then it'll affect the local initiative for the tax levy. So we really do have, it's an exciting, the list, we just got a preliminary list the other day, and it's a big one, but it's a lot of detail behind it. So it'll be consolidated and grouped for the community. But in addition to the list, I think there's going to be some community engagement where we're probably going to do site visits, to all of the facilities to see what some of these things, you're not going to look behind the wall to see the wiring, but you'll see a lot of the needed identified issues. I mean, even outside, like with the parking lot, you'll see that there are some visual things that, you definitely would identify, but then there's a lot of things that you don't necessarily.
Driveway selling is a good example, because what you don't know is our driveway, at least on this main campus, there's no drainage underneath it. And so the project becomes significantly larger when you're looking at removing the existing pavement, the gravel underneath it, but also installing drainage systems. But what we talked about with our architects, King and King, is possibly, them taking pictures and putting them on banners like we have out here. So when people walk into those spaces, when we have a meet and greet in the facilities, people can actually see it without taking them to an unsafe environment in the street.
Right. Or, if we need a new roof, we're not going to go up on the roof to see it, but, there's a lot, like I said, there's a big list. And let's see here. So again, to keep on the timeline, because there's such a long timeline between the voters actually voting on a project, paperwork get to SED, and then there's a huge lag for them to get approval. And then you have to go out to bid. So it's probably going to be 3 year out minimum before you break ground anyway. So that's why we would really need to start that planning now. Now, the building condition survey, which we're going to be seeing for the list meeting next week, that's the beginning process, because SED is not going to allow you to really have a big project if it's not identified as a need. They want to say, oh, you need a new roof. Well, it wasn't on you. How come you didn't identify it? That kind of thing. So, you really, that's why the architects are key in this whole process. But like I said, we did the traffic study on this campus, so their recommendations will be factored in as well.
I'm just going to add to that because I had asked the company, I haven't received an answer yet, or confirmation, but I had asked if they could come to the August 6th board meeting to present their recommendations to the board. I'm just waiting on confirmation from them.
And then the existing capital construction project, along with the turf, we will be doing permanent financing to at the end of June 2025. So that is part of this next year's plan. So in order to meet that timeline, we would need to have the $13 million project completed by this December, so that all the paperwork needs to be filed with that. And then another thing that really, it's part of the long range technology infrastructure plan, but they have a number of sources for resources, capital construction projects, for like internet, all of the behind the scenes wiring and closets that have I can't think of the terminology for technology. E-rate is another source of funds. MORIC is the BOCES Regional Information Center. We could get some technology through them, as well as multi-year financing through them, in addition to the general fund budget. So we really need to have, instead of having to piecemeal from technology, we need to get also a long-range technology plan from them. So for budgeting purposes and for the capital construction project, factoring in for the network servers and support, as well as for budgeting for the regular budget. But that does factor in the technology, the capital construction project. And then finally, the emergency project at North, we would need to file the paperwork for that, get that started for this year, and then convert the bands to a bond for that. That's it.
Ellie, thank you very much for going through that. Tina, thank you for going through your sections. I want to thank everyone who served on the strategic planning committee focus. The feedback that they gave, that the executive team gave. If you noticed, it significantly increased in pages. I think we went up over 10 pages from last year's plan. So it's a little bit thicker, but it outlines some really critical things that we need to focus on this year to really take things to the next step, which is what I appreciate about our 5-year plan. Is each year we're going to go through this process again, identify some next steps and move forward. And some things may come off and other things will be refined. That concludes that presentation.
Okay, well, Superintendent of Schools report. Regulation.
First and foremost, I would like to congratulate our graduating seniors, the class of 2024, the graduation last Friday. The weather could not have been any more perfect. I want to thank Leslie Atkinson and her team. It was just a wonderful way to really celebrate amazing students. So thank you for that. And I also am going to publicly say this because we did receive a community member phone call earlier this week that our board clerk took the phone call. I think that was on Monday. With a concern with the parade route. So I want to thank that person for calling our office, sharing that concern, and just apologies to everyone who lives on that block of Green Street. That was definitely not our intent to block anyone's driveway, and hopes of celebrating our seniors. The next thing that I want to mention is our Case Middle School moving up. I want to just wish our 8th graders, incoming freshmen, well. We celebrated them last week at their 8th grade. And I'm confident that those students are doing everything they can to relax, rejuvenate. Don't forget to read, practice your math skills, and you'll be ready for ninth grade in the fall. And I want you to enjoy the journey when you get there. The next thing is our SRO and intermunicipal agreements with the city. It was my hope to bring them to the board today for the reorganization meeting. However, the city is still working on the SRO contract and the intermunicipal. So neither of those are ready from the city to present to the school board tonight. So once I get those, I will add those to this agenda. I already thanked Sally for her services and recognize that this is her last meeting. And just a reminder that all district schools and campuses will be closed Thursday and Friday of this week and on our July 4th. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Assistant Superintendent for Instruction Report.
I'm going to read her sheet from her place Senate type, so I'm going to read it. On June 5th, I had the privilege of facilitating the Principals Academy. During this session, we engaged in productive collaboration with principals from various schools to plan for the 24-25 school year. We specifically discussed instructional best practices, instruction and intervention. Our work is directly connected to our district strategic plan. Also on June 5th, we had our annual federal grants advisory meeting where representatives from stakeholder groups, including parents, students, community-based organization members, college staff, teachers, administrators, and support staff. Federal requirements mandate that school districts involve stakeholders in planning, developing, and reviewing Title I programs and funding. Stakeholders can provide feedback on current programs and suggest improvements. This continuous feedback loop helps refine and enhance Title I initiatives to ensure students' needs are met. Throughout June, we offered a variety of professional development opportunities, including sessions for E&L teachers, workshops on engaging instructional practices, reading leak training, K-8 math training, and phonics training. Many of our teachers are already proactively planning for the 24-25 school year, integrating the knowledge and strategies gained from these sessions into their preparations. On June 25th, I attended our annual strategic plan review meeting. I'm grateful this process is a part of our strategic plan as it allows us to evaluate progress in each district priority and adjust our action plan items accordingly. This brings the document to life with real actionable steps that lead to continuous improvement. And lastly, Lynn writes, summer is a busy time in the district office. We are writing grants and preparing for the school year. Additionally, we are offering numerous professional development opportunities for our educators and many summer school opportunities for our students.
Thank you so much. Assistant Superintendent for Personnel and Student Services, Elaine.
Good evening again, everybody. So June was a very busy month. I would like to give accolades to our administrators and our teachers. I had the opportunity and the privilege to attend several events. On June 5th, we had the spring sports banquet. That was very well done in recognition of our student athletes. Watertown High School Awards Night, exceptionally done, and Pace Middle School Award Night's the same on June 17th. And then the National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony was June 20th at Watertown High School. And of course, the case moving up ceremony. And it's always nice to see the community and parental support at those events as well during the month of June. Being a former high school principal, Leslie, I can certainly attest to the busyness of June, and the graduation ceremony was outstanding on Friday night. I'd like to give a special thank you to those in attendance, especially our little kindergartners who were there, their parents who took the time to get them there, the teachers who were there, and the administrators who were there as well. That was just very well done and great to see. And I think our seniors were the ones who enjoyed it the most. I think they'll enjoy the little ones. So going back to June 24th, Matt Burdick and I met with all of the aides in the district over at Case Middle School. We had about 100 people there. We wanted to take the time to thank our aides in the district for their relentless work throughout the year. They do an exceptional job, and we wanted to recognize them. Mary Hughes provided us with refreshments there. We had the opportunity to implement a survey too. We had 100 participants in the survey. We have 115 aides in the district, so we have a good sample of our aide population. I wanted to share with the board just a couple of snippets. Matt and I are still going through all this, but we want our aides to understand that we're listening to them and we hear them. So some of the questions, we have 71% of our aides in the district are one-to-one aides, 17% are cluster aides. They work with groups of students, and then 12% our classroom kindergarten aides. So 63% of our aides in our district are satisfied with their current role. 35% are satisfied. So in just a very small snippet of the pie, we're dissatisfied. And we'd like to really, focus on that group as well and try to, we can't make any promises about aid placement, but we certainly want our employees to, enjoy what they do and be in the spots where they want to be. 95% feel that they have a manageable workload. 67% felt that they received adequate training. Matt has done a great job of implementing some professional development with Parabytes for our aides. We're looking to implement that, augment that, I guess, in the fall with doing an onboarding for all of our aides. We want them to understand and be well trained before they hit the ground running. Are the expectations and responsibilities of your role clearly defined? 77% said yes and 23% said no. When I presented a few board meetings ago on, how well we're explaining jobs to people when we're interviewing, that's an area for improvement. How effective do you feel the current professional development is? 18% thought very effective, 65% thought effective, and 17% thought ineffective. So again, we're looking to enhance that community. And how well do you feel you are informed about school policies and procedures? We had a mixture here. 19% were very well informed, 36% were well informed, 41% somewhat informed. And then would you recommend this school district as a good place to work to others? Proud of this one, 97% of their aides said yes, they will be proud. There were also a few open-ended questions where people would like to be if they're not in a spot where they want to be. So Matt and I will take a look at all of those. And number one is to service our students to the maximum. So we really like this data and we'll dive into it even further this summer.
Thank you so much. Interim business official, Sally Switzer.
I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity. I've really enjoyed it, being able to be of help. I've been working on trying to close out the year with the girls in the office for the books for 23-24 as well as gear up for the 2024-25 school year, which includes state aid. Trying to get some things done for Bree so she doesn't have to scramble to gather the data. And then the audit will be coming, like you said last time, in early September. So it gives her a little breathing room, but it's just winding down for me now. I've got trying to a couple more things that I really want to get done before she arrives on Monday. And then I'll have a little bit of time to go over with her where all the files are, and she doesn't need any help. And I'm very, very enthused with. Leave you in good hands with her because I'm very confident that it should be a smooth transition. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, this time we're in need of an executive session for proposed pending or current litigation. So can I have a motion? Kelly and second. Kelly, all those in favor? Aye. We'll be back. Okay, can I have a motion to re-enter public session? Billy and John, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thanks to everybody who stayed. And then,
Yes, I'm in need of an agenda change. For the approval of the salary increase for Director of Technology, Cybersecurity and Innovation.
I have a motion to
Millie?
Millie in a second. Billy, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Items for consent agenda.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the following consent agenda items. Number one, appointment of officers. Number two, other appointments. 3, designations. 4, authorizations. Number 5, official undertakings bonds. And number 6, other.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
Millie?
And a second. Okay, Billy and John, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Items for board action.
Resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the intermunicipal agreement by and between the BOCES Office of Intermunicipal Legal Services and the Watertown City School District for the period of July 1, 2024 to June 2025 for the legal services for the intermunicipal agreement.
Can I have a motion, please?
Millie?
Millie in a second. John, any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Whereas on March 19th, 2024, the Board of Education awarded a contract extension for the student transportation services to First Student Incorporated for a 1-year term expiring June 30, 2025. And whereas this amended resolution reflects an updated CPI increase of 3.9%. Now therefore be it resolved that upon the presentation and recommendation of the school district's administration, that the Board of Education approves the amended transportation contract extensions with First Student Incorporated and authorize the president of the Board of Education and the superintendent of schools to execute any documents necessary to effectuate such extension.
I have a motion, please. John, a second. Billy, discussion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Whereas the district is a party to a due process proceeding, and whereas the board desires to avoid the continued time and expense of litigating the due process proceeding. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that number 1, the terms of the settlement agreement to settle the above referenced matter are hereby approved. And number 2, the superintendent of schools is authorized to execute the settlement agreement on behalf of the Board of Education and the district.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
Millie?
Millie in a second. John, any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that the payment of dues of $580.08 for the 24-25 school year to the National Association of Federally Impacted Schools is hereby approved.
Can I have a motion, please? Billy in a second.
John.
John, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that the payment of dues of $640 based on enrollment for the 24-25 school year to the Jefferson Lewis BOCES Boards Association is hereby approved.
Have a motion, please.
Millie?
Millie in a second.
John.
John, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved and upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Dr. Larry C. Schmiegel, that the daily rate of an administrative sub is $400 per day.
Motion, please.
None.
Billy in a second. John, any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Dr. Larry Schmiegel, the paid administrative leave of a probationary employee effective June 26, 2024 is hereby approved.
I have a motion, please.
Millie.
Millie, in a second. John, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Dr. Larry Schmigel, the Board of Education hereby approves the following: resignations, retirement, appointments, probationary instructional, term non-probationary instructional, instructional part-time, directors, provisional, permanent, part-time, lead teachers, summer school, extended school year special education staff, extended school year special education speech staff, substitute administrator, substitute non-instructional, fall coaching boys, fall coaching girls, fall coaching co-ed, winter coaching boys, winter coaching girls, winter coaching co-ed, spring coaching boys, spring coaching girls.
Can I have a motion, please?
Millie.
Millie, in a second.
Randy.
Randy, any discussion?
I have a question. Actually, I'm glad you're still here. I just want to know, do we have any designated deadlines for any applications or like we need a coach for a certain sport? Is there like a hard deadline, or do you just designate those deadlines based on the need and the time and build?
The way the contract reads is June 1st is the deadline, and that's in the WEA contract.
Okay, so by June 1st, we should have all of our coaches unless something happens and
In theory,
comes up.
sure.
Okay. So there is a hard.
Yes.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Same.
Yes.
Resolved that upon the recommendation of Dr. Larry Schmigel, superintendent of schools, the appointment of Terrence Gonseth as K-12 temporary interim principal in the district is hereby approved.
Done.
Millie.
Can't get rid of
We're eager.
Can't get rid of them. That's a good.
Any other discussion? Oh, we're happy that you're back so soon. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Be it resolved that Maria Denner is temporarily met the district needs of the vacant senior account clerk's position in the business office until such time as the board appoints a new senior account clerk in the business office. And she will be paid in addition to her wages as the accountant, the additional sum of $75.68 daily while she is performing the duties of the senior account clerk in the business office.
So this is two reasons. One is the MOA that we had ended at the end of June. That's one reason. Second reason is we did not fill the position yet, and I guess there's actually a third reason. So she left the 12-month clerical bargaining association to become a management confidential. And we needed an agreement with the bargaining association to prove to them that we understand that it's bargaining work and we are not in any attempt trying to take bargaining work away from their union. But in the interim, until we hire somebody, because it is a kind of unique position that we need to be able to do this.
Juggling her.
Did I get motions?
Nope.
John.
Millie.
Millie. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolve that approval of a memorandum of understanding by and between the superintendent of schools of the Watertown City School District and the Anchor Recovery Center is hereby approved.
Can I have a motion, please? Kelly, in second.
Millie.
Millie, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that one student from Immaculate Heart Central will combine with the Watertown City School District for the 2024-25 school year to form a cross-country team. Be it further resolved, a student from Immaculate Heart Central will train with the Watertown City School District's cross-country team. The student will compete under IHC colors.
Can I have a motion, please?
John.
John, second.
Millie.
Millie, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that as part of the New York State Disaster Evacuation Plan, the Watertown City School Districts covenant and agree to secondary temporary holding areas between the school and the following. Be it resolved that the above reference agreements are hereby approved.
Motion, please.
Millie.
Millie in a second.
John.
John, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that the following revised Board of Education policies are hereby approved and adopted. 1003, community use of school facilities. 1003.1, facilities use permit application. 7401, and staff automobile use.
Can I have a motion, please?
Go ahead.
Kelly in a second.
John.
John, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that a recent donation of 250 hygiene kits was made by the North Country Library System. This donation is gratefully accepted and approved and will be acknowledged in writing.
Can I have a motion, please?
Yeah.
John or Millie? Discussion.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that a recent $100 donation was made by Mrs. Misty Wecker to the class of 2027. This donation is gratefully accepted and approved and will be acknowledged in writing.
Can I have a motion, please? Kelly in a second. John, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that the outgoing senior class of 2024 has made several donations to include $1,000 to the upcoming senior class of 2025, $1,000 to the upcoming junior class of 2026, $1,000 to the class of 2027, $500 to the Get Ready rooms at Case Middle School and H.T. Wiley Intermediate School, $2,000 for the Welcome Back Watertown event, and $1,000 towards the hygiene machine at Watertown High School. These donations are gratefully accepted and approved and will be acknowledged in writing.
Have a motion, please.
Millie.
Millie in a second. Kelly, discussion.
Kudos to the class of 2024 that they have almost $6,000 in excess funds that they can donate to all those causes.
Must be good fundraisers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is amazing. It sets a trend for the coming classes. Very nice.
A way to leave a legacy.
Yes. Very nice.
Favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that the disposal recycler donation of damaged, outdated and unused books from the libraries at Knickerbocker, Sherman, North and Starbuck Elementary Schools is hereby approved.
Can I have a motion, please?
Millie.
Millie in a second.
John.
I already know the answer. We're not gonna do it going forward. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
At this time, I need to, at this time, I need to ask the board members for for any interest in the upcoming New York State School Boards Association meeting that this year is October 20th to the 22nd. This is the New York City conference for NISBA, and I know Lori does have some interest, if I can get any.
If it convinces anyone to go, I'll be going this year.
Yeah. Also, it's October 20 to 22nd in New York City.
Yes.
And how many people do you need?
Any people that
I
want to go.
usually take a delegate and an alternate, but anybody.
You want to go, Cole?
I went, it was Buffalo last year. I went, it was exceptional.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
want to go to New York City.
I would like to go.
Yeah.
But you can go too, you can go too.
We can both go.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay.
Can we work in like a Broadway show?
And Margarita.
Sounds good, huh?
I'll jot everybody's name down there and I.
Thank you.
Lori expressed interest too.
She always does.
And I also need a member and an alternate for the election of for the Board of Education to serve on the executive committee for the Jeff Lewis BOCES Association. They have a couple meetings a year.
Who is that now? Is it Lori?
I think it is Lori. I think Lori's been attending.
Yeah, Lori has been doing
She's
it.
been doing such a good job with that.
That's right, there's a rule.
Yeah.
Give a sign.
Does anybody want us possibly be the alternate just in case I need it?
I'd be the alternate. If there's no objection.
Thank you very
No,
much. Next on the docket is resolved that the disposal, recycle, or donation of damaged, outdated, and unused textbooks and instructional materials from Ohio Elementary is hereby approved.
Second,
Millie.
Billy, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that a 3.5% salary increase for Jeff Wood, Director of Technology, Cybersecurity, and Innovation for the 24-25 school year is hereby approved.
Done.
John again and Tina Fluno for the second, right? You gotta do one.
Perfect.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The resolution.
Okay, quickly, the fourth and the fifth. All buildings are closed and then we'll see everybody back here Tuesday, August 6th at 4 p.m. for our Board of Education meeting right here. What's start time?
I'll start. Yeah, sure. So thank you, Mike Morgan, again, for that incredible comprehensive presentation. That was an eye opener for a lot of things that are going on in our athletics department and things that we have to look forward to. I think we've set an organized path and things for us to consider as a board and things for us to look forward to. So I appreciate you, doing that for us. Very nice. Welcome to Tina. Good luck. I like to talk a lot, but I think that's good, and I hope that you'll join in that same process. I've said it before a couple of times. I think that you will see that we're a good group. We all have our opinions, we all have our say, and I don't think any of us really hold back. So I think you'll know that. Sally, we're gonna miss you. You were lovely. You did a lot for us, which was really nice. And I think congratulations to you joining us. We're looking forward to all that data that you will be giving us. I think it's very important. I think you might have already gathered that we're kind of a number-oriented group, and we like to see those figures and those percentages to kind of substantiate where our thought process is going in meeting some of our goals. And the summer is going to be great. We need the month off all together. It's going to be tough. Not being here every 2 weeks, we're just gonna cry about it. So thank you to everyone. I think we've had a great year. It's been great progress, and I'm happy that we have a lot to look forward to next year.
John, what you got?
Holy cow. So many moving up ceremonies and award ceremonies and getting all of those musical concerts in at the end of the year. It's been a whirlwind. And then graduation. I just have to echo what Dr. Schmidt said earlier. It was amazing. And Leslie Atkinson and her team did a phenomenal job. And it was truly a day for celebration for those students. And it was great to see. I wish all of those seniors the best. And I know we're going to add to those numbers over the summer as we get a few more that get the requirements that they need in. But it's just been phenomenal. And of course, as I drove by, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my son's going to be devastated when he gets back from Tennessee, but the process of the turf, it's being torn up as we speak. So that process has started, and I can't wait to see, what that new turf looks like as we get closer to our fall sports season. So busy time. Summer doesn't slow down for anything in the educational world.
Thank you. Tina Fluno.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who voted for me and believed in me. As everybody knows, I was employed with the district for 17 years and been working with special needs kids since I was 13. So this is my heart and soul. So I'm very glad to join you guys. I think that everybody here is already amazing. So I'm very, very grateful to be here with you guys and to hopefully make these things come to fruition. And again, thank you to everybody who supported me and believed in me. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Gully.
So to be overly redundant, no, I just attended a number of events and celebrations, and especially the graduation to kind of top everything off. It was excellent. Very busy time of the year. But the planning and improvising that went into graduation was great. Speaking of the turf, is there any thought of what gets done with it? I know it gets thrown away, but I know, talking to some people, some athletes who are graduating or maybe current athletes who've played on the turf, a little memento, is that anything that's been thought of?
I can speak to that actually.
Okay.
I was informed not too long ago that the clerk of the works is giving Dell a gigantic role. It's also in about 75 different roles, so maybe we can get a second role, but there is going to be a gigantic role that Dell will be the keeper of. And the plan of that is to cut it up and to give it to people.
So can anybody receive, because I had someone reach out to me, they're creating like a little turf area for their child lacrosse player, not me. That is looking to see if they could even purchase some of it or would be able, because they're happy to use the used turf. Is that
Yeah.
something that I can
I'm not
reach out to you?
Perhaps, I don't know the answer to that, but I can find it. I'm not sure what they're doing with it. They have multiple tractor trailer loads of it leaving. And it's, I'm sure, I would love to see it repurposed somehow, because I
Okay.
think they're just gonna toss it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So if there's any sort of repurposing for something like that, yeah, I'll try to
Look
find
into that for me and I'll send you the size that I'm looking for.
Yeah,
That'd be great. Thanks,
I'm
Mike.
not sure whether, because it's still our stuff, we would have to declare it surplus first, even though it's getting tossed, just to cover our base.
Sally with all the red tape.
It's an asset that we're.
Yeah.
I lasted.
Well, I know there's resale sites, these companies,
Okay.
I don't know if this company's one of them, but they sell like used turf online. I mean,
We still have that, and then we still have the old bleachers that were out there in the high school, so. Sending them all to Randy's house, like at the end of the week.
We saved those.
Good question.
That's it, I'm good.
Thank you. Randy.
Yes, I am sentimental. Well, talk about redundant, go last. It's really tough to not be redundant at this time of year. I know with all the year-end activities, they make it look easy, but we know it's not easy. And I look back and think, what a great way to commemorate a whole year's worth of great work that we've done together. Perfect way, graduation was the perfect way to prepare it on the end of the sentence. I want to say welcome to Tina as well and farewell to Sally. It really helped put the district in a really good position. I'm very grateful for that. Learned a lot from you. Thank you. Want to just make a comment to Millie. Thank you for comment you made, John, for nominating me. That's the main reason I ran, was to provide stability and continuity for this district, to help our new superintendent, not new, but our newly crowned superintendent, have him have the best chance to have success for our district. And so I feel honored every time I walk into one of these buildings. I still see myself as a student here. And I don't know how I'm so fortunate to be able to be in a position to make a difference that way. It's still somewhat surreal to me. So I'm the lucky one. Thank you.
I should have gone before you.
one of these days you'll learn.
I actually have an update from Matt Burdick. Said, I am excited to announce that our extended school year services will commence on Monday, July 8th. We are eagerly looking forward to welcoming our students to summer services and providing them with engaging learning opportunities. Additionally, we have an enriching summer planned with numerous professional development opportunities for our dedicated staff and paraprofessionals. These sessions are designed to enhance our skills, share best practices, and ensure we continue to deliver the highest quality education and support to our students. Somebody had told me 2 years ago that Millie Smith would be sitting at this table saying what she said earlier. I would have said there's no chance. So those words aren't taken lightly, and I'm probably gonna watch that on YouTube every day for the next year. No, but in all seriousness, and I mean this, given the intelligence and talent of the people who sit at this table on this board, please know that I am humbled to remain in my current capacity, and it's truly an honor. And that's all I want to leave you with.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we're in need of an executive session for the proposed pending or current litigation and the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. Can I have a motion? Kelly and John, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? See you in August.